And some of it is directly towards cutting pipe, cutting stainless, cutting tight. If they are going to cut titanium, you know, chip removal is huge. And this is probably something in the beginning I hardly ever talked about with people, but you've come to see when you're cutting pipe and you're cutting tube. Most places, most companies run their saw with a just a brush that kind of bounces off the wheel. We're here, it's driven by the gearbox. It goes the same RPM as the saw, so it lasts a long time, and it's real easy to get, you know, and adjust it. So, you know, we recommend as people at the beginning of the shift, check it. You know, all they got to do is unloosen that and bump it forward a little bit. So that's huge. You can see the 45-degree slant. The 3-inch and the 4.3 operate on, the head goes on linear guides. On the 130, 160, 180, 230, those are all on machine gibs. So, you know, extremely heavy duty. This machine, 10,500 pounds, which you compare that to competitors and it's just night and day. And what does that give you? Everything here is about, you know, eliminating any kind of vibration when you're cutting, because you eliminate vibration, you can run your blade faster and harder, and you don't really notice any drop in blade length. Your blade guides, very close to the material. That's another advantage of the 45-degree. You know, if you're coming this way, you got to get those guides farther apart to clear. So we're coming right like that, and it's sorry. You know, it's just, plus all your chips come down this way. They're all away from the blade. They're not all getting caught up in here. And then they come out in the chip conveyor, which isn't here. You know, we don't have it in. Primarily, we sell magnetic conveyors unless people are cutting non-magnetic material. The magnetic conveyors, like the best thing ever, absolutely zero maintenance. You know, drag conveyors, everybody knows that, you know, you're cutting chips, you get clogged up, you gotta go in there and do stuff to it occasionally. Those magnetics are just the way to go. This is NC ball screw axis. The head's driven by a ball screw. The sizer clamp is driven by a ball screw. So we're gonna set this up just like a machining center. You're gonna give it your part, tell it about your part, whether it's round, whether it's square, what the size of the part is, your cut length, your RPM on the blade, your chip load per tooth. So you actually dial in a chip load, and it's just like a machining center where it's pulling that same chip every single time. And there's no, like compared to a bandsaw, another advantage, there's no break-in. You know, you don't have to break the blade in. You put it on and go. Also, you know, so during the break-in period, with bandsaw, your lower production. Bandsaw also, as it dulls, it cuts slower and slower. This is, as it dulls, it gives it more juice. And there's an amp meter on there that monitors that. And you know, people say, when should I change the blade? And it's like, well, when it breaks. You know, it amps out. It's gonna amp out and say, okay, I'm done. Discharge, you know, this is how everything comes standard. Parts fall in a box. There are other options to go this way with a conveyor. You know, and again, you know, we're selling into more and more places that aren't necessarily high production. So they just want to have something here that they can take apart and put it into the next operation, or, you know, stack it up. So, you know, sometimes people will take this off and they'll build a flat piece coming out here that maybe goes onto a conveyor or just a work table. So you can, you know, we can sell things, but there's a lot of people that just, you know, come up with their own contraptions in front, and it's very easy to do. Again, this is the enclosure. The machine has, you know, the coolant system is a drop type system. This is the container here, so it holds a lot of fluid. And it's, you know, this is the applicator here. you know, people are probably familiar with like AccuLube or something like that. Same kind of concept. Difference is, you know, you are going to run a vegetable oil just like that. It's a much easier system. It's easier to set. It comes out right at the blade, and you know, these, like, we rarely sell these, like rarely. You know, and these, if they get clogged up, somebody pours the wrong oil in it. You know, they pour Lube oil instead of, you know, that's like a $125 part to change out. It's easy to change out. The machine has a complete lube system. There are no grease fittings on this machine. Every place that gets lubrication, needs lubrication, gets it like every 4 or 5 minutes, whether it likes it or not. If your operator forgets to fill it, it shuts the machine down. So the only way to eliminate that is to fill it back up. But that, again, it all goes towards the life of the machine. On the 4-inch saw, you got horizontal clamping, vertical clamping on both sides, sizer and exit. On the 3-inch saw, it's only on the jig clamp, the main clamp. But we can add a vertical clamp, which you have to have it if you want to cut more than 1 bar at a time. But most people cut 1 bar at a time. But we do have some customers that run 2. So, I'll fire it up.
Yeah, when you spin out